What's up everyone, and welcome to another Hate Watchers breakdown and review for House of the Dragon. Today we're going over the season finale, episode 10, titled The Black Queen. Let's get right into the breakdown. Spoilers ahead. We begin the episode with Cool Hand Luke looking over a wooden table map at Dragonstone. Luke is just a zoomer, so he says Driftmark isn't bussin', and he doesn't want it, and it should have gone to Vaemond. Rhaenyra says she wasn't ready either for her big important duties when she was his age. Rhaenys is here, and she tells Rhaenyra and Daemon that King Viserys is dead and Aegon has been named king. Daemon thinks the king was killed, and Rhaenys says she was asked to swear loyalty to the Greens. Rhaenyra has an upset stomach. A really upset stomach. Turns out it's not one of her big queenly duties, but yet another baby that's coming early. Daemon is already plotting his war and preparing Dragonstone's forces. Jacaerys is taking out his teenage sexual frustration on his younger brother Luke. Rhaenyra tells her boys Grandpappy has gone to live on a farm, and the Greens have taken over. Jacaerys tries to stop Daemon from leaving because he has enough daddy issues already. Daemon and Jacaerys test the two Kingsguard's loyalty, and Caraxes pops out to show off its new necklace. Rhaenyra keeps screaming throughout all of this, just looking for attention. Being strong and independent, she pushes the baby out all on her own, but the baby's dead, so it doesn't count. At the baby's funeral, one of the Sir Erics brings Rhaenyra Viserys' crown and swears fealty to her. Daemon puts the crown on her and kneels, simping hard for her.
My queen.
Rhaenys is too old to kneel, and apparently also too old to even change her clothes for the funeral. They light up the table map, and Daemon introduces Rhaenyra's 17 titles, and she realizes it's time to grow up and be queen finally. They're going over their support, and it looks like the Blacks will be supported by the Starks because of their honor and shit, and will be opposed by the Lannisters. So I guess we figured out who the good guys in this show are. This old guy's like, fuck all this talk. Let's rock and roll with your dragons, as the Blacks have 13 to the Greens 4. Otto has arrived to Dragonstone asking to see the princess, but there's no princesses in this castle, only Queen Rhaenyra. Rhaenyra lands her dragon behind Otto like she did so many years before, but this time as a foe. Otto says kneel to Aegon, and they'll get some nice gifts and some sizable discounts under the new king. Rhaenyra tells Otto he's wearing too many pieces of flair and removes one for him. The Grand Maester gives Rhaenyra the book page she mindlessly ripped out of a book in the first episode. Like she's gonna remember that after having 5 children, a stillbirth, her father dying, marrying Daemon, faking her husband's death, her lover boy getting burned alive, and her father banging her best friend. Daemon says, "Let's get ready to rumble!" But Rhaenyra says no. Rhaenyra says she doesn't wish to reign over a kingdom of ash and bone, just like Daenerys said. Gee, how'd that work out for her? Daemon says she needs to take action and start showing her what action looks like, but the demonstration goes a little too far. Corlys is awake and suffering from some serious hemorrhoids. Corlys wants to declare for neither the Greens nor the Blacks, but Rhaenys has come around to the Black side because she's seen Rhaenyra do what she herself never got the chance to do. Corlys says Otto Hightower used to treat him differently because of the color of his skin, and pledges House Velaryon to Rhaenyra's cause, although it was clearly orchestrated by Rhaenys. Rhaenyra says she won't do the first blow in the war, which is a poor choice of words for someone everyone keeps calling a whore. Corlys's fleet has set up a blockade in the Narrow Sea to choke off King's Landing, and somewhere Daemon can be heard giggling about the choking. Jacaerys suggests the princes deliver messages to their sworn allies because dragons are more convincing, and so they head out on Dragonback. Daemon is singing in the dark when a massive dragon joins him and really hits the high notes. This must be Vermithor, the second largest living dragon formerly ridden by King Jaehaerys. Luke arrives at Storm's End to entreat with the Baratheons, but Vhagar and its rider Aemond are already here. Luke passes on the message, but Bossman Baratheon can't read, so the Maester comes to read it for him. Baratheon says he's going with the Greens and Luke should run on home. Luke turns to leave, but Aemond is really into this whole eye for an eye thing.
Give me your eye, or I will take it!
Luke eventually makes it outside and takes off into the storm on his dragon Arax. Aemond comes flying in, and he drives about as well as you'd expect a reckless teenager with just one eye to, almost running into Luke a few times. Arax disobeys Luke and blasts Vhagar, and then Vhagar goes rogue itself and straight up bites Arax and Luke in half. Well, there you have it. Intentional or not, the Greens have started the war. Rhaenyra hears of Luke's death and is ready for revenge. But we'll have to wait for the next season to see it because that's the end of the episode. We've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. This episode was a great watch, and was a good way to end this season and have us itching for the return of the show next season. We finally got to see Rhaenyra take up the role she's been preparing for and the position everyone's been trying to take away from her. We got to see Daemon having to be restrained from rushing headlong into the war he's wanted for a long time, and we saw his first reaction to the prophecy that was hidden from him. We got to see Rhaenys finally warming up to someone and backing Rhaenyra after seeing her step up to be the queen she never was. And we got some real classic Game of Thrones vibes, seeing the lords standing over a map of Westeros preparing for war and mustering support from their allies. It's interesting as well to see a few scenes and dialogues from the beginning of the season having an impact on this finale. In the first episode, Viserys makes it clear that the Targaryens don't really control their dragons, and we end the season with Luke's death after 2 teenagers were unable to control theirs. Also, on the bridge to Dragonstone, we get a remix of the scene from episode 2 where Otto and Daemon are butting heads. Rhaenyra once again lands behind Otto, but this time she stands in opposition to him. Now, the ripped page that Otto uses to try and persuade Rhaenyra is stupid. Her ripping out that page was a small, meaningless scene that most viewers would entirely forget without seeing it in the recap before this episode. And the character would have certainly forgotten about this thing she did without much thought 20 extremely eventful years later. We do have one big issue with this episode, but it's more of a season-long issue, so we'll be covering that in the complete season review, which will be out next week, so stay tuned for that. Lastly, we have to take a victory lap here because our prediction was spot on that we would see the opening salvo of the Civil War in the season finale, and it came in the second to last scene. This will be sure to have people eagerly awaiting the second season, which will feel a long way off now. Thanks to everyone who made it to this point in the video. Comment below, are you excited to finally get to the Dance of the Dragons next season, or do you prefer the more character-driven episodes like we got this season? In the book, Aemon's killing of Luke is purposeful. Do you think it's a better idea to show it as accidental in this show to give the Greens a more sympathetic framing? Remember to like the video if you liked it, and hit that red subscribe button for reviews of other current shows and movies. Also, stay tuned for more Hot D videos such as the aforementioned complete season review, as well as a compilation of the funniest clips from Season 1. Thank you again, and we'll catch you on the next one.